I got a new plant. The sun is just really hitting my face exactly where it needs to be. Hello, my name is Benga and I'm filming this as fast as I can because I really like the way the light is currently hitting, and all I'm really here to do today is to show you my new plant that I just bought, which is right here. It's kind of in the darkness, but I'll bring it forward in a second. I was on my way somewhere and I stopped in IKEA and I popped in, looked around straight to the plant section as usual, saw this plant, £12, and I mean, what was I supposed to do? Leave it? Doesn't make sense. So I bought it. I also, interestingly enough, actually bought a watering can. I think I've mentioned in another video before, but I have not found a watering can that I thought was reasonably priced in the 2, maybe 3 years that I've had plants. So I've just been using whatever I have as a watering vessel, but I actually finally cracked and bought a watering can, which I'll show you in a second. But first, let's talk about this plant. So, the lighting is so... I have no idea what happened, but I think my brain just kind of short-circuited after that frustration, and I just sat there staring into the distance for a while. But I also realized when editing this that I forgot to show you my watering can, so I'm going to do that now. As you can see, it's a 2.5 litre watering can. I got it from IKEA. It only cost me £5 Great British pounds, and I was happy to pay that price because it holds quite a lot of water, and I kind of like the look of it. It's metal, but it's not the painted metal that like chips, and it's not plastic. So overall, I'm happy with this purchase. Shout out to IKEA. Back to the video. Okay, I'm trying to work with the light, but it's not particularly easy. This is, maybe I should just hold it, 1 second. Oh, it's wet. Okay. This is, I'm trying to hold it and not spill it. This is my new plant. It is a Cocos nucifera, or nucifera, I'm not entirely sure where the stress is on that word. But it is otherwise known as the coconut palm. Ta-da. So it has a huge seed, and that takes up effectively the whole size of the pot. And then from there sprouts 1 or 2 main stems that have leaves coming off it. This has been on my wish list for a while, ever since I first saw it. I think it's someone else's video, or maybe on Instagram or something. And I just like the way it looked, from the fact that it had a seed in the pot, which just kind of looks interesting. Also, I really enjoy the leaves. Not only the fact that they are very like flat and vertical, but also I enjoy the fact that there's a split at the top and the leaves sort of grow in pairs. So you have one pair here at the top, another pair over here. Let me see if I can point to it. Another pair right here, and then another smaller pair down the bottom here. And yeah, that to me is it's an interesting, it's a fun shape. The reason I hadn't bought one, let me reposition myself so you can see me. The reason I hadn't bought one, it's unfortunate this plant is in the dark right now, but we have to work with what we have, which is not much time and not much sunlight. The reason I hadn't bought this plant up until now, despite it being on my wish list for about a year, was mostly because I had heard and read that it requires a lot of sunlight and a lot of water. And I still think that's true, but I just think it was in front of me, so I decided to buy it anyway. Maybe it's because, so I lost my first plant a few months ago. Some of you may know this news. Maybe you have been party this information beforehand. Yeah, I couldn't save that plant, like it was gone. We had fun whilst it was around, but I had to let it go. And that's my first casualty ever in almost 3 years. Is it true? No, I keep saying 3 years. It's not been 3 years. So I got my first plant in 2021. So it's actually been 2 years. Yeah. So ever since that plant died, I've been feeling the need to, actually, ever since I returned from my trip at the start of this year, and I had multiple plant emergencies happening at the same time, and I just felt very like, just give up on some of the plants. Some just take so much attention and effort that it's like, is it worth keeping this if like I have to put this much effort into it? So I got rid of one, or it was dying anyway, and just gave up trying to save it. And another one, I took some drastic measures, which if you have not seen it, I'll link it here. My previous video about my banana plant and how I'm trying to save it. I took some very drastic measures and I cut up a lot of the plant. So since those two things, I think I'm just in a new phase, a new era of my plant care journey, where I'm less fussed about plants looking perfect and being perfect, and only getting plants that I know I can look after so that it will constantly look perfect. And so that's why I decided to take a risk and just get this plant when I saw it, because I saw it, I liked it, I want it, I bought it. That's really what it is to it, and that's what lots of other people do. And I try to discourage people from doing that, because it means that you'll just end up killing the plant. And I do think that's important. Like, you don't just buy a plant that you have no intention, no ability to ever take care of. But I think I was at a point where I was actually just stopping myself from having things that I wanted until I'd like proved myself worthy. But I'm also not looking at my own worthiness in an objective sense. I'm being too hard on myself. Like, I have so many plants and I've kept so many alive. I've lost one plant in 2 years, and so I think I should look at it more as a challenge to see if I'm like ready for the next stage, the next level, as opposed to a irresponsible purchase that I know I can't take care of. This is something that I think I might be able to. I'm going to try my best to, not something that I know I can't, but I'm going to buy it because it looks cute. I've seen a lot of negative press around this plant and how it's impossible to keep alive. So I'm kind of curious to see if I can, beat the statistics. But I'm going to enjoy it whilst it's here at the very least. I just think, look at it. It looks so windswept, I've recently just finished I watched The Dragon Prince, and then I watched The Legend of Korra. And I put off The Legend of Korra after having watched Avatar: The Last Airbender for the first time in 2020. I started The Legend of Korra, and 5 minutes in I stopped it because I just could not deal with an animation style that was too different, and I didn't like the change. But now I've gone back and watched The Legend of Korra, and I enjoyed it mostly. Still have my issues with it. The reason I brought that up was because the way that the way that these leaves are curving and curling, I don't know, it just makes me think of airbending. So maybe I should I'm gonna name this something to do with the Avatar: The Last Airbender universe. I wonder what name I'll end up picking. So, in the end, I decided to name the plant Jinora, after one of my favorite characters from Legend of Korra, Jinora, who is the eldest daughter of Tenzin, who is Avatar Aang's son. Just like her as a character, and she's a good teacher, a good leader, she's a good airbender, she's studious, and I think that's the kind of energy I want for this plant. So shout out to Jinora. I know on Instagram I did ask for suggestions for names, but overruled, sorry. Some of you are playing games also, so if you want your name suggestions to be taken seriously, then maybe come up with something sensible. I don't know. But if in future you who are watching this video right now would like to participate in suggesting names for plants, then be sure to follow me on Instagram, and that might happen there. Maybe I'll put it on YouTube in the community tab, so keep your eyes peeled. And back to the video. All I really wanted to say, apart from what I've said so far about this plant, is that I wanted to briefly talk about what I do when I get a new plant. I know the framing of this video is very strange because I'm kind of far away from the camera and you can only see half the plant, but this thing is tall. Like, it's roughly a meter tall, I'll put a picture here where you can see the full height of it, and there's no way to get all of that in a landscape unless you'd be miles away from me. So compromise. Whoops. I can come a bit closer if you want to see my face. So what I normally do when I get a new plant is I will, number one, quarantine it. I won't bring it around any of my other plants for at least 2 weeks. Two, especially with this one, I'm going to spend some time wiping down the leaves as much as possible, and usually I'll just get literally just like I have a cloth here, any kind of cloth, and water, depending on if it's like dusty, dirty, or like I can see something that's I need to actually remove, apart from just general like preventative dust treatment and stuff. I may mix it with some soap or whatever just to wipe it, and then I'll wipe it again with water, or maybe in the shower just rinse it off. But the point is to try and keep it clean, or as clean as possible, before bringing it around other plants. Realistically, I don't think I'm going to keep this around other plants in general anyway, just because of the lighting requirements, and I think I might leave this plant here in this room, because this room is the room in the house that gets the most light. Though it's not temperature controlled, it's now starting to get a little bit less aggressively cold, so I think it may be okay here, and I would rather put it somewhere where it has enough light and I have to water it more frequently than put it somewhere that I don't have to water it as much, but it doesn't get enough light and then it dies. Anyway, aside from that, I usually keep my plants separate from everything else for a while, wipe it down, and then in that time I'll also think about where it needs to go and if anything else needs to move in order to make room for this new plant. Then once it's in its place, that's it. Pretty much I will just water it according to my research and what I know of the plant, however much water applies, and then I will monitor it probably a bit more closely for the first month or two and see how it responds and see if I need to change my habits. And if all's going well, then that's it, we're off and away, and it just continues as normal. I don't think I've had any plants fail using that process, so until it's proven that it doesn't work, I'm going to keep using that process. Yeah, that's all I really had to say about this plant. Obviously, before I go, I'm going to give you some music. Okay, I may regret saying this because the last time I talked about a concert that I had tickets for coming up, everything went wrong. But the song that came to my mind just now was Heated by Beyoncé from Renaissance. I'm not going to get into it. I'm really not going to get into it, but all I will say is this. That song, it speaks to me on a level that few songs ever have spoken to me. The way that it ignites my mood, it changes my perspective on life, it activates the red blood cells within me. Yeah, I just got emotional a bit. Yeah, let me leave it there. So if you want to know how this plant is doing in X number of months, make sure you subscribe so you can keep up to date. If you want to see another video, that I will put one here, and if you want to see a playlist that might be of interest, I will leave one just here for you. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.